Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about having a small business in an economy that is really scary, like the one we're facing right now. I listened to President Biden's speech the other day and I was looking at some of his proposals. While some of them are very good, they're going to be super expensive. And unfortunately, with some of those tax hikes, we're going to see some issues. So what I wanted to do was make a video, maybe two, I don't know, we'll see how this one goes, on having your small business in a time of crisis and moving through this and then hopefully coming out on the other side. The first thing I want to discuss is wages. That's a big one that he's talking about. It's a talking point, and you hear a lot of people complaining about wages and wages being $15 an hour. Well, $15 an hour minimum wage is not a big deal. A few years ago, when we did have our food truck before we sold it and stuff, we were paying $15, and we didn't start at 15. We worked our way up, and you can talk to our employees. They typically started at $9 or $10, and then by the time they were with us for a year, they were making $15 plus bonuses plus tips. So don't be scared of the $15 minimum wage, but understand what is going to happen when people start getting a $15 minimum wage. Basically what that does is it puts more money into the pool, and so people are going to get greedy and they're going to want more of that money. That's just the way life goes. So don't be greedy, but now is the time to find out how you're going to get your part of that money if you are a business owner. So a couple of ways to do that are going to be addressed in this video, but we're just going to kind of break them down. I don't even know how many I'm going to go over. I'm just going to kind of continue to talk, and we'll see how this flows. When I stop, and then maybe I'll write how many. So let's go with number one. The number one thing you need to do to hedge yourself in a bad economy is to Debt is number one. The number one thing you need to do to hedge yourself against a poor running economy is to eliminate your debt. Now, right now is the time to act. Unfortunately, some people are in a better position to act than others. But you don't have to be scared. What you need to do now is start reading the rescue plan. It's in Congress right now. Read all those things. Find out what applies to you. There's a bunch of money out there. It's like $4 trillion, okay? This can wreck the economy because it can cause hyperinflation. I'm not an economist, but that is the concern. Here's what I'm more concerned with. I'm not so much concerned with the minimum wage. Minimum wage is a good thing. We've had the same minimum wage forever. Minimum wage isn't going to make a difference. It's not going to kill a company. It's going to kill a little bit of the profits, but they're going to pass those on. And when they pass those on, not only are they going to make up for those profits, they're going to make more profits. So the corporate tax hike sucks. In some states, on your gains, on your profit, you will be paying 51.1% in taxes. That is pretty darn high. Now listen, you say, well, rich people, whatever, okay? I would not have been in that 51.1% tax bracket. I would not have been. I was really close when my accident happened. However, it's not hard to make $500,000 in a restaurant. And then let's say you make let's say you make $1 million. If you make $1 million in a restaurant, and of that profit, let's say you make $500,000 profit, which is not going to happen in a restaurant. Don't think that's going to happen. But let's just assume half of it is profit. So you make $1 million, half of it is straight profit. So that's $500,000 in your bank. Oh, wait, no. 51.1% of that goes to somebody else. Yeah, taxes. So you only get 49% of that 500,000, which is going to be less than $250,000. Okay, $250,000 sounds like a lot, but to make $1 million, it's really hard. Okay, especially while you're making that money, you're paying people $15 an hour, and you're making sure that they're taken care of. So remove yourself from the situation. Don't worry about how much your boss is making. Worry about how much you're making, okay? That's the key. Be debt free. Stop eating stupid stuff. Okay, for me, I was drinking so many sodas, so many energy drinks. I didn't even drink alcohol, but I was drinking so many caffeinated drinks that I was spending a fortune just drinking them because I thought I needed them to thrive. What I didn't know is even though they were giving me energy, they were giving me crashes, crashes, crashes. So now I've completely eliminated that from my diet, along with other things. When you get healthy and you start eating right and not doing all the, I'm not saying don't go out and have, the occasional clown burger or whatever. What I'm saying is don't make that a regular habit. What does that have to do with business? It's everything to do with business. You have to be healthy. And you will not be unhealthy if you go eat fast food every day. You will be unhealthy if you go eat at fast food every day and you eat big meals that are extra sized and all that stuff. And not only will you be physically unhealthy, you will be emotionally unhealthy, and then you're going to be financially unhealthy. So you need to find a way to get yourself out of what you've been doing. All right. This is not a new concept. This is just a different way of saying it. Get yourself out of that. And realize that some debts are important and some of them aren't. And what I mean by that is the ones that you're emotionally attached to, the ones that you did, those are the most important debts. The ones that were thrust upon you, medical debt, things like that, those are important. But you don't have to be emotionally attached to them. Just attach yourself in the head. No, that is your responsibility. Set it to the side, communicate with those people, and attack the debt that you have. When I lost the use of my legs and I had to have the surgery, at first, the good thing was I did not have debt on the truck. We had a maintenance debt, but we didn't have a debt on the title, okay? We had a maintenance debt on it. So I just had to pay a maintenance debt, which meant I could still sell my truck, which was the business. So we did. We sold the truck, the business, the contracts, everything. Boom, we were able to sell it. We weren't out any money because our income had dropped so low for so long, we didn't have to pay a lot of taxes on it. So it didn't destroy us. And it could have. If we had owed money on that, we would have lost that asset. We wouldn't have had that asset. It wouldn't have been one. If we had sold it at that moment, we would have lost money on it. Absolutely. We sold it for a good amount. It dropped. Well, actually, it didn't drop. The second time we sold it, we got it back, and we sold it again for less. But again, we owned it. So when we were able to personally finance it to someone we trusted, and when they were done, they had treated our property really well, and they returned it to us, and we were able to resell that and then reinvest that. And what we did was when we got that chunk of cash, we didn't blow it on a vacation. We did go on a vacation. But the first thing we did, because I wanted to enjoy that vacation, is we paid off our maintenance bills. We paid off the bills that we had that were not necessarily our responsibility. They weren't our decision, but they were our responsibility. So we were able to pay off that debt. We would not have been able to do that had we owed $5,000 on the truck. If it was just a $5,000 debt on a $50,000 truck, we would not have been able to survive that. We would have been homeless a lot sooner. So what does that have to do with debt? Or what does that have to do with being successful? When I lost the use of my legs, we treated people right. Our employees stepped up for us. It wasn't a situation where our employees were like, well, we're going to lose our job. We always communicated with our employees. And you can't do this in a big corporation. But when I couldn't lift something, I had employees that said, let me pick that up for you. And they knew that Rachel and I were trying. We were fighting through this. So when the business ended, we didn't leave our employees in a bad place. Our employees are in better places because they were able to walk right out of our food truck into any food truck in a city and say they worked for us, and they probably would have gotten a job because our team was the most amazing team in the city. I know there's a lot of great teams, but our team was always the best because we taught something in our business, and that was we love each other and we love every customer that comes to that door. I still get calls today to go do caters. I can't do it. I just physically can't do it anymore. So I had to get smart and say, what can I do if I am now on disability with a fixed income, probably a third of what we made when we were doing the business? And how are we going to succeed and be awesome? Well, for us, it was pure and utter stupidity. We had 2 real estate purchases in front of us, both of them financed. One of them was 5 acres in rural Oklahoma on unrestricted land, and basically I could live in a tent out here if I wanted to. And one that was in the city next to a hospital, great neighborhood, beautiful school district, great house. Lost the job, couldn't afford it. Was getting my pension from the military and was able just to pay, a little bit. And we got behind. We did all the foreclosures. For 2 years, we went back and forth. And for 2 years, we got free rent. Basically, that's what we did. We communicated with our mortgage company. We applied for things, and we weren't paying because they said, well, you can send payments, but if it's approved, everything will be okay. If it's not approved, you'll lose those payments. So we were actually advised by the mortgage company to not send payments, to just do the paperwork. What we didn't realize at the time, and I've learned later, is of course they want to extend it out, because then you have this big chunk that they can add to the end, inflate the thing, and they want you to foreclose. They want you to get out of debt. And that's not every bank. That's this bank. We found out that this particular bank is a predatory bank. And it is what it is. So we ended up, not a predatory as in they gave us a loan we couldn't afford, predatory in that they want to foreclose on your homes because they give loans for homes in great places where they're going to go up in value. So we didn't lose money on our house. By the grace of God, when they sold it at auction, it was just within a few $1,000s, and bam, no foreclosure on our credit report, because instead of going hog wild and ape shit crazy, like some people do when you get a foreclosure and they start tearing the house up, we did our best with what we had. Second, quick word from our sponsor. You want to do it? All right, come over here. I just want you to come.
Take my hood down.
No, you can leave your hood up. All right, what I want you to say.
Oh, so we're gonna dapper. Well, smile.
Wait, you have to smile. You don't say smile. Okay, take 2.
And subscribe to my dad's channel.
Okay.
Subscribe to my dad's channel. Like, share, and subscribe.
Hey guys, and we had a little interruption the other day and when we were filming, and I decided to go spend some time hanging out with the kids, and that's never a mistake. So I wanted to get back to what we were talking about and figured we'd just use that as a little promo. So she's your sponsor because the time I spend with you guys is the time that she is giving to you guys. So whenever she needs me to do something or any of my other kids need me to do something, I just stop because everything else can wait. So we were talking about the mortgage and how we were in the midst of a foreclosure, but we still decided to make sure we maintained the home and made sure it was taken care of, which means that when the foreclosure process went through, we were able to walk away from that without debt, because when it went to auction, it made enough money that we didn't owe any money. And we didn't make any money, but we didn't owe any money, so it doesn't show up on our credit report as a foreclosure. However, we don't really care about our credit report because we try to pay cash for everything. Occasionally, we do have to finance something, unfortunately, but right now we are in the midst of only financing. Here's what I'm trying to say. I'm about to finance a storm cellar. I just don't have the cash for that storm cellar and have it installed, but the payment I make on that for the next 4 or 5 months is worth the the non-safety of not having a storm cellar out in rural Oklahoma. So I guess what I'm saying is just you need to take care of what you have. We were able to walk away from that, and now we're moving forward with a fixed income as a disabled vet and raising a family and doing our best. Our kids are happy. Our kids are actually pretty well adjusted compared to who I am, but we are changing our stars, as I like to say. There's a movie that I love with Heath Ledger. It's called A Knight's Tale, and the premise of the movie is simply that. The young man asks the boy if a man can change his stars. And I think I'm living proof that yes, the boy can change his stars. And the only way you can do that is to appreciate the people that came before you. Now, I am in the process of writing a new book. It is I'm not planning on having it out on paperback. It's just going to be an ebook, but we're doing a Kickstarter to create an heirloom. I would love for you guys to check out the Kickstarter. Again, I'm sponsoring my own videos, but if you could, I'll put a link in the description. If you can visit that Kickstarter and spread the word, I'd really appreciate it. So in the meantime, ask your questions in the comments and maybe we'll adjust that and we'll see what comes to mind tomorrow. So again, work hard, be kind, and have fun. And my son has added, when possible, take a nap.